just forget the world. You don't need no one else to run to. It's a shame that I told you that I loved you. It's okay if you don't feel the same. We can share the blame. I'm used to feeling pain. Now they got me signing autographs and all of that, and the girl I want is calling back. She always asks when I'm coming home. It's gonna be a minute cause I'm on the road. Hold her close, so you don't gotta worry, I won't let you go. Cloud to a name, not a house to the thing. Got an ounce of cocaine and it's stuck on my face. In a couple of days since she called me, blowing up her phone, trying to figure out what's wrong. See, I'm not used to having bitches on me. Now I'm getting money, so they want me. And I love all too often. And I think I fall in love all too often, all too often, all too often.
And we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Review, an MX Bikes Edits visual podcast where we go through and review your edits and provide our feedback, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. I am your host, Dylan, aka So-Called Designs. In studio with me, we got a guest this week, Panicrev. Say what's up, dude.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Super good to have you on the show. You were highly recommended from our last two guests that we had on, but we're excited. Just a little bit of administrative work. Junktown, my co-host, or Josh, is not in today. He's got some real-life stuff going on and wasn't able to attend tonight's show. So it's just going to be me and Panic kicking it for the next hour or so, reviewing your edits. Excuse me. To start off the show, Panic, why don't you just kind of give us a little rundown, how you got started editing, kind of who you are and whatnot, so our viewers can get a little bit more knowledge.
I don't know. I've been playing the game since 2020 about. Didn't really even have a PC. Always just been a console guy forever. Old roommate had a PC. It wasn't very good, but I bought it from him for $200. Started playing bikes and I instantly felt way too addicted to it. And I love dirt bikes, and this game is the best dirt bike physics. And the best way for me to really, I don't know, I had just as much fun playing around in replay camera as I did playing the game.
Sure.
And so just naturally it ended up, finding out that there's a free editing program, DaVinci, and you could just like screen record by doing this, and just kind of started tinkering away and trying to put little montages together of cool whips and whatnot, and didn't really know that I was going to start making edits per se.
Right.
But it just kind of started happening, and then here we are 4 years later, still got like a passion for it. And it's crazy because now at this point people have gotten so good at the game and so good at editing and stuff that it's just ever expanding now. It's just gaining like getting bigger and bigger every time a cool new project comes out or something like this, that builds incentive to make videos. So it's just cool. It's cool to kind of be around for a while and then see the evolution of it all.
Absolutely, man. Well, for folks that don't really know Panic or Panicrev's style, he shoots everything very similar to like what you would see from kind of a moto vlog. So his style is very much a stationary camera, but he tracks the rider in such a way that it looks very realistic, like somebody has an iPhone or a handy cam and is sitting there at the track. And it's a really unique style, and I feel like he does a really great way of doing it. So going away from a different, kind of what you would see from like Dirt Shark or, these high production moto edits. And
kind of always knew, like in the back, that maybe my editing chops weren't quite as flashy and technically crazy as some other people out there. So I kind of had to figure out a way to use the vision that I did have and figure out a way to kind of get it out in a way that wasn't either stealing anything, like trying to make something new that I could control.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Like, you definitely have a unique style, and I like, we were talking before the show. It's definitely something that, like, I personally don't really use all that much, and very little. But the way that you execute your shots and the way you piece it together, it's very cool and it's interesting, and it looks like something that you would see from like Buttery back in the day, and it has this realism to it that is super
I think
solid.
it was like a lot of it was inspired from things like that and the early Axel Snapchats and
Yeah.
things kind of like that. Trevor Hooton's point and shoot videos and stuff.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Well, and it's raw, right? Like it's not this high production value edit of MX bikes. Like it looks like somebody is watching this rider at the track, and so like one of their buddies filming them on a phone and like throwing it out on Snapchat. So
Mhm.
it's super cool. And I honestly I love seeing stuff that you put out. It's great.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to get into it. Our first edit of the night comes from a YouTuber named Mitchy213, and it's his clock ticking edit. So, all right. Let's get it.
Dívam sa ti do kože jak tetus. Stoky potrebujú fúknuť na blesnúť a špina pár tvojich post, to je minimál. Menindy k tvojej personalite je fakt minimál. Flow, máš štýl, zadok, boky, sex appeal. To je mokré sny, bounce, bounce, you like it. Vidím ako na mňa pozeráš a o tvoje oči hovoria len za. Screenshoty na môj IG, blúzni, zdá sa ti.
Dude, that was crazy. That was really cool.
Yeah, I like the film work, man. Like it's definitely, like quality's there. His reshade looks dope. This shot here, this like transition where he posterizes time. Like this is really interesting. It's got a lot of like
Yeah, it's like a crazy like it's cool with the song too. I like that song. It's real chill vibe, but like usually you would see this kind of effect for aggressive videos with like way more gnarly songs. But he managed to squeeze it in there and like make it fit.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. And then the shot in the beginning with like the orange sky in the back, that's just I like I don't even know what you would call it, just the kind of
Like that.
layer of it.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool.
The reshade looks really good, in my opinion. Like
Yeah, I like the like kind of haze over it. It's actually pretty cool, which I think is hard to do without washing it out really bad.
Yeah, it's a subtle way of getting around it, but I don't think he overdid it all that much. One thing that I saw is, and I don't know if he intentionally did this in the beginning, but he might have slowed down some of his footage in post. Oh, maybe it's just like the camera shake effect. Okay, that's what I was seeing. Because I thought he had maybe slowed it down, and when you slow down MX Bike's footage, like
Oh yeah, it gets like jittery.
it gets jittery unless you have like a specific like speed. It's the way that you like blend the frames, at least in Premiere. It'll get really jittery if you really slow it down in post. But no, he's just got a camera shake effect. This was really cool. There was some camera work stuff that I mean, if I'm nitpicking, like, oh no, I guess the camera doesn't stop there.
I think so like the bike gets slow motion, but the camera stays moving in the same speed as the fast motion a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's honestly hardly. It's there. It's a slight thing, and it's honestly hard to not do that.
Yeah.
Especially transitioning as much as he went from like speed to slow to speed to slow. That's tough to do and keep the camera consistent with that. But yeah, at that point, I mean, it's just splitting hairs at that point. This was a really cool video.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say is it's a dirt bike edit, and I'm sure you've watched the last couple
Oh,
of
yeah.
episodes. I want to hear some bike sounds, man. But yeah, no, like this is really good. Good job, Mitch.
That was fun to watch.
Enjoyed it. All right, up next we got McFlurry, and this is Josh. So it's another rider feature.
Shit had me traumatized. I'm talking homicide. Sometimes I don't come outside. Feelings get put aside. Follow the formation and it turned out amazing. Try my best to shake it. I hope I don't go crazy. That one of my man slide. Then I be satisfied. Winning by a landslide. I got them terrified. Nigga situation. They switched on my location. Them niggas was hating. I left them in the basement. Yeah. No, I got my niggas lit. Then I got my side pocket. Then I got my bitch lit. I don't need no side option. I ain't with the rip rap. You better hope God got you. I can go and sit back. Let me see them guys at you. Louis Coat, smoking dope. 3 or 4, I blow it up. Lamborghini, Vince dog. You can lift the dog.
Man, I was not really expecting that. Like
That was cool too.
two really good ones off the rip. Yeah, like Reshade's on point. I've really enjoyed the
The
overlays.
B-roll of the track was cool too. He did like with the water truck, and then the little corner track that's on the height map behind the track. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I liked that, but you do get some of that weird texture glitch being that far away, like the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's sneaky. You don't really see it, but you do get those weird square
Oh,
edges.
yeah, you're talking about down here.
Yeah,
Okay.
like sometimes the LOD on the game, it's like there's a sweet spot where you could be far and still have the textures like loading correctly.
Yeah. Man,
And
that's
this was just right on the verge.
yeah, it's a shame. Do we see it? Like, oh, he might have just been too far away. Oh man, that's tough. But I
And
mean,
then if I also too like a couple of the clips, if they were just a teeny bit shorter, because sometimes there's like a elbow twist or like a weird head bob that like wasn't maybe necessary for the shot, and it's right at the tail end of it. And just trimming up the little edges a little bit like that, I think would just make the overall thing feel just a little like neater.
yeah.
Ultimately, like the whole as a whole, the thing is it was just cool to watch. I like I'm not very good at hip hop edits,
Oh yeah.
but I really appreciate when I see them.
So one of my biggest nitpick things, and it's like I see it overdone a lot, is when you roll the camera so much in one direction, like it gets to be a little distracting, right? So now I'm not going to go ahead and say like, oh, you have to have the camera like straight on or anything like this, but like this to me was just a little much in the roll direction, especially for the direction of this shot, if that makes sense. So like we're panning or actually dollying left to right or right to left, and it's just like it'd be
Just askew a little bit.
yeah, it would be. It's really difficult to like find that fine line where you could have like a naturally looking roll of the camera, and it's off kilter, so it looks fine. But this,
Yeah, especially the way that the roll works in the game.
Yeah.
It's hard to get like a swing,
yes,
which is kind of like the best way to use a roll. But yeah, it's tricky. There's ways to do it, but it takes a lot of coordination. It's like mental gymnastics trying to do all that.
yes, and I feel like McFlurry here, it's probably a set it and forget it, and I see a lot more people doing this with just like in general, like they'll set the roll angle of their camera, film all of it off that one roll angle, and it it can detract, but like to the trained eye, right? So like as a casual viewer, like you're not going to really be able to tell, right? But if you are an editor or somebody that creates content, like I'm gonna notice this right away. This was the first thing that stuck out in my mind. But other than that, like the bike is sick, kit's sick. I think it was a lot of slow mo, and I don't know if that's his style. I mean, dirt bike edits in general have a lot of slow mo in them, but I would like to see some just regular pace or regular speed shots. Just add some variety to it. Other than that, bike sounds.
Bike sounds.
Yeah, man, it's a dirt bike edit. I want to hear.
It's one of those things where it's like it's that extra. It's just about taking that extra time to do it, And I think sometimes it's easy to not realize how much of a difference it could really make. Something small like that, just to take the time and do it, and it changes the whole overall product or whatever. I can't think, but
yeah,
I think people like it's just about taking that time and just doing it, knocking it out. It's worth it
for sure. And like I said, if this is a rider feature, so like I'm not gonna harp too much on like the close up angle, because that's what what rider features are. Like they want to see the rider. So I feel like in the sense of, hey, we're featuring this rider here, we're like, I want to focus on this.
It's got the old frames counter on there too, huh?
Oh yeah.
That one's small. I didn't even see that.
Oh no. Yeah, see, man, you gotta take the time to do that. You have, like, this will ruin.
I could see how that one could get past you. That one's subtle.
Yep. Man, is
that the whole time?
Oh yeah.
I didn't even notice it.
Yep. There it is. Filmed it at 5:00. Man, that's tough. See, but that's that little extra bit, right?
Right.
And
then if you stare at it long enough, you end up like getting blind to some things.
Yeah. Well, it's just turning that off. Like you have to go through your mental.
Got to add it to the routine.
Yep. Add it to the checklist. Oh, that's really unfortunate because this edit was super well put together. It was well shot. Reshade looks great. Depth of field looks great. But yeah, man, it's just that little extra step, and it can get away from you, and it sucks when you notice it after the fact. And you're like, oh man, I have to go and reshoot this in.
Admittedly, I didn't even notice it for that whole minute. I was glued into the riding.
No, and that's kind of exactly.
But yeah, I know it is one of. It's like
shit. Well, anyways,
it's the fourth wall immersion.
Right. Anyways, McFlurry, great job, man. That was super good. I'll give you a subscription. I want to see more.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, Mountain Motorsports MXB. Okay, we got another.
Nameland.
41 seconds.
You like the way that sounds? His Bronco. He's gonna lay a little rubber later on at the truck. Oh, and all the girls are getting pretty, spraying on the white rain. Yeah,
okay. I mean,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's that was because I think there was like all the bike shots in the beginning, which were cool. The video felt short, but that was fun to watch. Like, I was smiling. That was cool. I liked the ideas there, and then the shot through the rollers, like kind of behind when he's like low. It's like you're on a side by side following along with the roller. I like that kind of stuff right there because like you'd have your buddy on a quad or something. With his, you know what I mean? He's like cruising, following you. That's pretty. Thought behind that is I like it.
No, this was good. So I really liked like this shot here in particular. It looks sweet. I mean, his depth of field is there. He's got his reshade on. I mean, it could do a little bit of tweaking to try to like get the color grading just a little bit better, make it look more realistic. But all things considered, like, this isn't bad. He does have bike
And then
sounds.
some of the B-roll in the beginning with the camera, like you see a little bit of that right stick twitch.
Yeah, like right here, I think. No, it's like right before.
It's like the beginning of that shot, I think. Yeah, like
Yeah.
right there, the little jolt or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's minor things, but it does catch your eye a little bit. It snags just a tiny bit. Beside that, dude, this was pretty cool, and I'm assuming not a lot of people use Jason Aldean for bikes edits, so that's pretty. I always respect like out of the box songs.
Yeah. No, like the song choice, like I'm not a Jason Aldean fan by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not either, but I can respect. Like I appreciate the execution of it. I guess.
Yeah. No, like it's different. It's not the same. Like it's not
Right.
hip hop, or it's not, you know, a popular TikTok song, because like
It's a tempo that I'm not used to. You know, like
yeah.
it was cool.
No, like I felt like he did a good job. Like kind of touching on the point that you brought up earlier, he uses a lot of B-roll that's just the bike on the stand, and I've been adamant throughout my time hosting the show where stationary bike shots on the stand is overdone. It's at this point it's like corny. Like I don't.
Usually it's just because they're too long of a shot.
Yeah, like
You know, like you don't really need a full walk around usually to get the gist.
because like this shot starts at 8 seconds, and we're still looking at the bike for, you know,
Yeah.
seven total seconds, which is a long time, specifically in a 41-second edit. That's almost a sixth of the edit is just looking at the bike.
I kind of had a revelation one day in DaVinci. Like when you're filming and clipping and stuff, you think 6-7 seconds doesn't sound like anything until you plug it in. And all of a sudden, dude, like you realize how far 1 second can go, or a 2-second shot. It sounds ridiculous, but like for a B-roll or something, that's all it takes sometimes.
Right.
And it's easy to kind of get lost and be like, maybe that's too short. I don't want to flashbang them with a shot, but you realize that like you have some space there. You can trim it down.
Well, and there's like ways to get around that, right? Like if you want to still feature the bike, get a bunch of different angles that aren't just this slow pan or tilt up and down. Like there's ways to do it. Like if you can find a spot in the song, and most country songs have a drum fill, like that's a perfect opportunity to execute showcasing the bike and on a stationary position or from some other position. Like get a bunch of different angles and then have a drum fill, and like you fill that time, or it's not dead air, but it's, you know,
right.
It's
well, and, like on paper, it is a cool shot and it's a cool bike, and like all the shots are cool, but the issue is it's so watered down now because so many people have done it the exact same way.
Yep.
That it's kind of lost its like it's hard to not do whatever. Like I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but the first maybe 2 videos that ever came out where they did the B-roll like that of the bike, it was probably the sickest thing ever. But then the next, there's just so many that are very similar that you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Right. Like it's just watered down. It's been used a lot. The bike is sick, and I know that this editor will.
Hoosiers.
Yeah, it's different. Like, okay.
There was a random B-roll of a double somewhere after the riding got started.
Yeah.
If there was multiple B-rolls throughout the riding shots, I think it would have fit more. But that shot, you're like kind of expecting him to come over the double.
Yeah.
At some point, but he just never does.
Yeah. Well, and then you see it's the same double after the shot. And or
Yeah.
maybe it's not. I can't tell.
I think it's like a shot after or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, but like this shot, oh man, I was so excited to see this because like this is a really cool angle. But then it like stops, like it unnaturally
Oh,
stops.
right.
So like
It goes back to that like twitchy, jolty.
yeah.
It's tough to tune that in on the controller.
Well, and you know, an easy way to get that dialed in is just practice, like having
Right.
consistent motion. If you're going in a direction with the camera, like continue.
Here's
that go ahead.
little. Sorry, I didn't mean. Got excited, dude. I just thought of a little tip thing that I used to do to combat that. I used to take a rubber band and wrap it around my joystick a lot, so it was like a steering stabilizer,
Oh, wow.
and I would use it to fly around. So it would make my movements a lot less stop go.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I mean that like it's almost like a buffer, right? So like if you really want to get going fast, like you can lay into it. But if you're
Right.
just like
Yeah, there's like resistance there.
yup. Okay. Yeah, that's a super helpful tip. But yeah, it's stuff like this where the camera stops moving, where it draws me out. It takes the immersion out for me because I want that natural progression. And like this is such a dope angle. Like you could have realistically like tracked the rider through this, lens. It's like almost like a shooting window that you have, but because they stop that natural progression of the camera going straight up, it kind of ruined it for me. But all said and done, I feel like this
It's
guy,
just
yeah.
little tiny loose ends is all.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that was a really cool video.
Well, right, it's a great
And
idea.
the writing was sick. Dude,
Yeah.
sick whips and stuff. Like, it was all realistic, which I'm a fan of.
Mhm.
And, yeah, look, that was cool.
All right, man. Mountain Motorsports. Hey, keep it up. Keep trying. Keep getting better. Keep improving. All right, we got Scats Creations, Big Steppa, minute 20. So a little bit longer one.
Warning. The stunts in this movie. Hey, shut the f up! Yeah, 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 yeah. Wait a minute, get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big stepper, underground methods. Top-notch hoes, get the most, not the lesser. Straight terror, product of your errors. Pushing culture, baby, got that product you can measure. Trendsetter, the one who get the weather. Swerving while I'm bumping Project Petter. Yeah, rolling through the city with the big dogs. Fuck the laws, loyal with me, we ain't got a cow. Silly on silent, put the product in the pillar loud. That's how you make the money pop for everyone involved. And if you don't deserve a cut, then we gon' cut them off. My barber got me looking proper every single time. Fresh fade, getting fitted on that top grade. No, you ain't walking out alive, smoking what we on. And you know I got it poured for the ones who gone. R.I.P.'s in your memory, we carry on. When I die, they will not bury me, not what I want. Burn my body, pour my ashes in the river, y'all. That's how we knowin' that the flow about to carry on. See, immortality's a fallacy, I prove 'em wrong. This other family gon' carry me the way beyond.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
Okay, so the bike looks sick. Riding was dope, but like even the film work was pretty solid. The only thing that I, aside from no bike sounds,
Right.
was
You need a sound drop for that.
right. No bike sounds. No bike sounds. No bike sounds. Somebody's gonna clip me saying no bike sounds. But it's God, it's the transitions are a little overdone. Like
There's
yeah.
a lot of them.
Mhm.
One thing I'll say though about it is I haven't really seen anything very similar to that like transition in the game.
Mhm.
I might have missed somebody's, but it was unique. But after a little bit, it started to get a little bit. I wanted to see like the writing a little bit more, and then felt like I was trying to look through the effects a little too hard.
Mhm.
But the effects are cool. you know. So it's kind of it's just maybe spacing them out a little bit.
Right. Like there's ways to utilize transitions in a way that makes sense, and I feel like with a faster paced song, like this song is pretty up tempo, high energy. Like you can get away with using a lot of these shake transition effects where it's like the camera's warping and all sorts of other stuff. There's lots of movement. However,
Mm.
it it gets distracting after a certain point in time with how short the clips are. It felt, this being a minute and 20 seconds, which in my mind is like the perfect length for a
Mm.
bike's edit, just based on like, you know, the attention span of the viewer. Um,
Sure.
it makes a minute and 20 seconds feel very long, just because of
Yeah.
how much there's a lot of meat in this edit with the transitions taking. I feel like the transitions took the limelight for most of it, if that
I
makes
think
sense.
it's a little bit of a mix of that and the the slow motion shots
Mm-hmm.
are all, not all of them, but a lot of them feel like different speeds, like different. Some are super really super slow.
Uh-huh.
Some are like only a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's hard to find a rhythm.
Yeah,
Uh, there was one shot in particular where he's going through the command, or what do they call it at Washougal? The
the whoops. Yeah,
yeah, he's going through the, like, this shot's super slow,
but you don't
but it
really like.
didn't really need to be.
Yeah,
And then that one's like a still another slow mo, but it's faster. And then this one's like a little faster and then slow again. It was just like a weird, not a weird, but like it was an, it was hard to catch a rhythm. I would say the second half of the video did, he was a lot better about that. Like, it was like once he got the momentum going, it was the rhythm felt more consistent.
for sure. Well, and one thing that I will say is like it's it's tough to find that like nice speed, right? Because like if you're shooting something that's super close up and you want to slow it down, like it's really difficult to like keep
Right.
your camera moving even at half speed in in the replay editor. Like if you're super zoomed in, like you have to be really slowed down to get that to look good. Um,
Mhm.
but I
There
I
was a shot over the finish line where he rolls the camera and like zooms in at the same time. It's pretty quick. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a good use of um
the
the roll.
oh yeah.
Where is it?
I think this.
Nah, no, it was a different shot. It was like the jump before the start straight turn.
Oh, okay.
Thought it was toward the end. Oh, wait.
Avidas Washugal. Is it this one?
It was farther in than that, I think.
Ah, either way. Um, the only other thing that I would say is like the reshade looks really good, but you got to get your depth of field set up, man.
Mm,
Like that. It's tough. It's really really tough because I think C touched on this early on. Depth of field is not just a set it and forget it setting. Like you really have to fine tune it for every shot. And
yeah.
for the most part, like it's we're talking minuscule adjustments, but the way you can elevate your game to, you know, get a really clean shot that is consistent across everything, is by taking that extra step to dial in your depth of field at every single shot. It's a pain in the butt. But the only last thing that I would say is like it's a lot of slow mo, man. Like it's a lot, a lot, a lot.
Mhm.
So maybe some like regular speed stuff. I don't know. Panic. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I've always slow-mo's kind of a given, right? Like
Right.
it's the coolest way to show off like the inner workings of the bike and the
Mm-hmm.
whips and whatever. But it does make you feel drowsy almost watching it when there's too much of it.
Yes.
Which then there's this weird confliction because you got this like hip hoppity beat song, and then it's kind of, you know, so there's just a balance in between there, and finding it is kind of the goal, right? Like that's
Right.
ultimately what we're all trying to do. And so it's just building blocks, you know, little things. And he's on the right track. That was sick. I like the idea, but just space out the slow mo a little bit, or speed up the slow mo a little bit, even. You
Yeah.
know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to find like just it. Well, I refer to it as pacing, right? So like the pacing was fast with like how short the segments were or the shots were, but there wasn't ever really an opportunity where I saw like a full paced shot of a bike ripping. Like it was all so slowed down. But I think having a little bit faster pacing, even with the transitions, would have made this piece a little bit better in my opinion. But either
And
way,
I think too, like with my, it could just be a me thing, but when you have a slow mo clip, you almost want that clip to be short, like pretty short, because slow mo clips, your eyes start to wander around, and the game looks great when you're not focusing on any one particular thing.
right,
uh, like if you look at a guy in the crowd, you realize it's, you know, it can only look so good.
right.
So those really long slow mo shots, it starts to, you s- like, the trick is to hide that and kind of like try and, um, I don't know how to say it, but like, incorporate the stuff laying around, like the SpongeBob's and the people and the fences and stuff, but not really focus on them because the game renders them weird. But
Right.
really long slow mo shots allow the viewer to kind of like look around and then see that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the execution was pretty good. He's on the right track. He's got all the right tools in his toolbox. Just cleaning up some of the stuff on the editing side, and
Yeah, just tiny little things here and there.
yeah. All right. We got Rye Guy. This is called Telescope. 52 seconds.
If it's double the money, it's double the size. Stash of them bitches, it fuck for the night. Double the catches, they call us a night. Summons you fucking no matter the size. Giving up keys, you giving up, please. So my drink, why I got your bitch all on her knees.
They know I'm a big boss, got a big boss in this bitch. They know I'm a big talker, have my big body and they shit. Know it's how me, bitch, R.I.P., bitch, they die. Turn the light on my side, these all the lights off for you inside. Be taking these drugs for fun with bitch, we putting me ass on the tongue. Bitch, we taking a ride with bitch, I'm bringing my motherfucking gun. If the lights off on my side, if the lights off on my side, how the lights off on my side.
Okay.
That was sick.
I mean, guy shreds.
huh?
The guy shreds, dude.
Yeah, he's ripping, and he had bike sounds, dude. They were sick too.
Hell yeah. I'm here for it.
I don't know enough, like technically speaking, to really know, but I think maybe the bit rate is low
Yeah.
on the export, because everything looks good, but like low bit rate, you'll get these like kind of like CRT TV type things with the edges of
Yes.
stuff.
It's called dithering.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it gets very like pixelated almost, but then it gets just like this weird bloom around the edges.
Because I can tell the frames are good and like the graphics are good, the reshade looks good. But yeah, there's like the skybox looks a little pixely at times, and but I think that's just an export setting. I could be wrong, but beside that, that was cool, dude. Like he was fucking ripping, like you said.
Yeah, Rye Guy's fast as hell, and I'm glad to see that he's getting into the editing game, man. Like bike and kit look dope, dude. I really like. He's on the right track. Like as far as
I would say for the vibe of the video, the B-roll ends with a fade to dark. I think a fade to light there would have been like right at the beginning, kind of.
oh,
It's like after the bike shot, so it fades in from dark, And then yeah, there's the track shots, and then see the bike. Then there's I think a fade light. But I don't know. I think that's just me being
Yeah.
nitpicky and like trying to look for like some kind of thing. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. One thing that I would say is, and I harp on this every week, is like getting your depth of field settings right, but also like camera settings. So like right here, it's a stationary shot, right? But it's like you see motion from the rider first, but not like the camera. You see motion from the camera, then the camera stops, and then it swings or pans through like to track the rider. One thing that there's a way to execute tracking the rider properly, and it's very difficult to do that from the side, like a side profile. So an easy way to just eliminate this style of shot where it's like stop and go is to have one consistent motion through the shot. With the rider coming closer, it's better to have motion with the camera itself. So instead of just a stationary portion, like it act as if like the cameraman or the gimbal or whatever is also moving like at the same time as the rider. Then you won't get, it's like this weird effect. It's like a fisheye effect almost with like how zoomed out the camera is, because I feel like he probably just put the camera right here in this position, and you get this weird fisheye effect where it can draw the viewer's eye away. But yeah, I would say like get your depth of field settings dialed in, so it's not like you don't get these weird like texture rendering things off in the
depth
distance.
of field is such a helpful tool.
Yeah.
Also with this shot, because it's full speed and because you're close, the game itself, like the replay camera, you can only move so fast. Like you can only look around so fast.
Right.
So it's hard to do these full speed shots where you end up like going close in front of the camera because of that, because you're constantly chasing. And realistically, it's like you probably want to do that in slow motion, film super painfully slow, and then speed it up in post and add a bike sound.
Yeah.
That would be the probably only way that you could get a smooth full speed shot that close.
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing saying like, okay, so rider tracking, right? And you do a lot of rider tracking because that's a majority of your style, is like you're just following this person, right? But you can track the rider without keeping the rider in the center of the shot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like using the rule of thirds. So if you were to divide this screen into 3 equal parts, both vertically and laterally, as long as your subject remains on one of those lines, whether it be the bottom third, top third, right or left third, and obviously in the center as well, like you can get away with letting the subject like go off screen. Like if you're gonna film a full speed shot like this, like have that shot track him through the corner, and then he blows through the frame, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like it's going to be cool and it's gonna look sick, but you can see like this like weird fisheye effect that happens when it gets so close, and he tries to really track the rider through a longer portion of this shot, and it's, I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah, it's not like a you thing at that point. It's a game thing.
Right.
And a lot of editing to this game is trying to hide those weird quirks.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how
and sometimes you got to cut some stuff out that you don't want to, like I'm sure the idea is cool if the game could execute it, but the best way to do it, because the game does like do that fisheye warp thing like you're talking about, it's the better evil is to cut it shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
or to blow through the frame, like you said.
Yeah. But overall, like I actually, yeah, that fisheye effect, and you can really see it in this, like just how wide of an angle this is, and like wide angle shots are sick if you're gonna film super close, and I don't hate it. Like that's dope, like the way that they execute like that fisheye style, but it reminds me of like old skateboard edits or BMX edits where it's like super fisheye. They look sweet and they're reminiscent of that, but I feel like for this, it would have made sense to probably slow this corner section down if you're going to film this close. Or not try to track through it. But overall, I think the execution was pretty good on this one, man. Like, Rye Guy did a good job. I don't know how often he does editing, but if he wants to stick with it, there's definitely room for improvement here.
Yeah, he's got it. So far, dude, all these dudes are like killing it and should definitely, like, they're onto something.
Yeah.
They're good.
No, they're not. They're definitely not bad. Like they have every single tool at their disposal. It's just instead of using
it's just tuning it up.
Yeah.
You know, and the only way to know how to do that is just trial and error, and just you just keep making videos, you know, and you learn a little thing here and there, and it just starts snowballing.
And you watch this show. You watch this show every week so you can learn.
Yeah, add that to the checklist.
All right. We got Squishy up next. Bad Boys. It's a minute long. Let's get into it.
I'm a bad boy. When I got off my ass and got to the cash and got in my bag, boy. Please don't think it's sweet, I stay with the heat even though I'm a sad boy. You better watch the way you breathe around me for that breath be your last, boy. I've been drinking red rats, boy. I've been chopping out these birds, McCoy. No one paid my rich a million 9 months. Overseas, 100 skin, bitch, croissant. Wreck the GTR, I love the crash car. I'm a bad boy, so I got a bad bride. Futuristic ride. Come to kick it, I'm not on the soccer team. You won't make it as part of my prophecy. Rap Simmons, match my prodigy. I'ma do the dash, get to the bag. Ain't no one as bad as me. Will Smith and Mark.
Oh.
Dang, I was vibing.
Yeah. Damn, like camera work solid. The bike is
Camera work was super sick. I thought the riding was sick. Like, I like the subtle. You don't always need the upside down or face melter whips. Like, I thought the riding looked really good. The reshade, I like the like tinge of it, but it's slightly washed out, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little blown out, and I don't know if it's just strictly reshade or if he added like a LUT or a LUT over in post, but it really oversaturated it, and you're getting a ton of HDR bloom. Specifically, what shot is it? Like you see, like this shot, I think. No, he's closer. Yeah, here. Like that is an insane amount of blowout and overexposure.
I think the like hue is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
really,
it is pretty like burnt or whatever you'd call it. I don't know.
Yeah. And you know, for the most part, like B-roll is solid. The film works really good. There's a ton of motion blur. Like you can see it just in this still shot. Like holy.
I've played around with that too and overdid it as well.
Yeah.
Like it's also hard because I feel like I don't know what he's using, but motion blur looks different until you export it.
Yeah.
To me, like it looks less when I'm actually in the program, like doing the playback, and then I export it, and I'm like, dude, what? So it's a little weird to dial in.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that I will say, especially like motion blur, HDR, anything in reshade, like even depth of field, like less is more. Like if you're trying to achieve like a really high quality product, start with less, and if you think it needs a little bit more, add a little bit more, and then take a look at it and see what it looks like on, you know, YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're posting your content, because it's gonna look different. It's gonna look different than when you are recording it versus when you export it. And if you export from, for instance, so like I always export from 60 frames, or I record in 60 frames and I export in 30 to give just a subtle motion blur from like just that export side of things, because it looks a little bit more realistic, more cinematic, but not. My motion blur setting is so low that it's almost unnoticeable to the naked eye, but it's there, so it doesn't look like a video game, if that makes sense.
Right, because there is like a thing where you don't want it to look like it was filmed with an eyeball. You want there to be some kind of barrier between you and the edit.
Yep.
I know that sounds weird, but like you don't realize it. It's like subconscious, but it's when it's there, it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
There was 2 shots that were almost identical back to back right in the beginning.
Like the B-roll?
No, it was the first double shot. Yeah, this one. It is this shot, and then almost the same thing again.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, but I think if that second shot was slowed down a little bit more to emphasize that you're showing it again, that would help a little bit.
Well, now that I'm like seeing this in like full speed, which like the pacing was dope, speed ramps super good. I don't know if he's actually like doing the speed ramps in post or if he's doing this in the replay editor, but like I always enjoy when it's like a mixture of the two, right? So you don't have like just straight slow-mo in your face, and you have like a combination of, you know, fast pace into slow with a speed ramp. But yeah, like to go back on your emphasis point, like the way that you can do that is have, you know, you've got your far away shot and then like a really tight close up.
Right.
Or
something to like really drive the point in that you're like what you're showing.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I would clean up the HDR settings a little bit just so it's not so blown out. I like the vibe is there.
I liked the writing a lot. Like he's got a cool style.
Yeah, the style is sick.
He's like pushing through the lips and like just like I don't know. It looked cool. It's not sometimes you see people like overwriting for the edits.
Yeah, like it's a very realistic style, which I can appreciate because there's, you know, tons of stuff where it's like, okay, like you're making this look like a video game. The writing is sick, but you know, it's tough. But anyways, Squishy, good job, man. We're gonna move on.
Good job, that's sick.
We got Dirt Films.
Oh wait, one other thing. It ended crazy.
Oh yeah,
it just abruptly stopped. That was jarring, dude. Yeah. I was like vibing so hard. You gotta put a closer or something.
Yeah, taper it off for us. Don't just cut to black like you're done. All right.
Don't bring me down. 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 Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun. Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun. Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun. Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun.
Oh no.
Turbulence.
Don't bring me down. Don't bring me down. Don't
No, not again. Oof. Oh man. All right. So we'll just address the white elephant in the room right off the rip, just so we can get through it. And I'm sure people heard us during the actual edit. God, it's so tough, man, when this stuff happens.
There's things about the game that we just live with, you know, because it is what it is and this and that. But there are ways to hide it and disguise it and
Yeah.
not let it be so obvious. Because everything about it's really cool, like the whip and the angles and stuff, and then that big old jolt.
Yeah.
But
Right here.
there's even things that you could do in your riding to kind of avoid that. And like not like whipping in the game is there's a trick to it, you know, without making it do things like that. And it just is a matter of kind of paying attention to it and when it happens and noticing, you know, and you can counter it.
Yeah.
But when it happens hard.
Yeah. Well, and like one thing, okay, so right here, right? Like you've got this shot where you see him absolutely cranked over, and then it gets, this is just after the jolt. I think it's like right here. Boom. Okay, so now what you do is we see this shot again from the different angle. You can start this next shot, or you end that first shot before the jolt and start this one after it when you're editing. Right? So like both of these clips are in slow-mo. And then well, it's like a speed ramp almost, but the speed ramp is timed so perfectly that it almost slows down to highlight the jolt, and it makes me sad. But yeah, like I would have found a way to try to, you know, mask that a little bit by, you know, cutting those clips, cutting that just like even those 2, 3, 4 frames out. Because the viewer isn't really going to notice. They're going to notice a switch in angle, but they're going to still recognize that this is the same whip, right?
Right.
But yeah, there's that one. That was tough, and it happens multiple times, which is, it's just so unfortunate. But other than that, like, the riding's sick. He spent a little bit of time on the stationary bike.
It's just hard to not do that too, because we get stoked on our bikes,
Right.
And it's like we get so excited to show it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree.
There's, you know, like there's way up riding out of the pit or something.
Yeah. Like. Adding. Okay. So like this shot in particular, right? So I do it a lot where. Like I obviously highlight the kit and whatnot in every single edit. I do a stationary shot, but adding lifelike motion. So he's got the bars turned, he's doing that thing. It's not just like the straight look over, but like actually have some motion, right? Have motion in your camera work, but also have motion in your subject, because it's really hard to film something stationary, especially on like video where it's, you know, a motion medium. Just add a little bit of motion and it'll get better, because this is overdone.
Yeah.
It's like the head turn, the look back, like it's all overdone. I use it still to this day.
Little thing too, you could like lift the camera up 3-4 inches from the ground, and it wouldn't make the texture look so blown out.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Or like even with like depth of field settings, like you can do this in post, right? So like you can create a mask that blurs this texture, because that's how like an f-stop would work. And yes, it's a huge pain in the ass to do that in post, because you have to track that blur mask all the way through. But in a shot like this, it's probably easier to just do that like just lift that camera up so the texture doesn't look so blown out. But other than that, the writing's sick. I really like the song choice was dope. Very much like a throwback to like 2010, 11 EDM. I really like the transition between full color and black and white. I thought he did a good job there.
And the black and white looks good. It's like a good. Sometimes black and white's like too much white over the black or something.
Yeah. Well, and then one thing that I will say is there's a portion of the song, and I think it's right here. Yeah, where it like the song has a natural close, right? And it's like a break in the song, but then we still have like a remaining 30 some odd seconds left on this because I guess like it's still like you get that swell and it's building up, but like this is a really good spot to end it because you have a nice slow-mo whip. You can fade this to white and just kind of taper off.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get stuck in the way of thinking too. Like you have to use every bit of the song. But you don't. You could cut the intro out. You could cut the end out. Whatever feels the best. You know, you don't. Because at some point, if you're forcing yourself to make something longer just to fill a song, you're gonna end up kind of needing some filler and
Yeah.
Or you could just, like you said, like the song has a good spot right there, and it'd be around the timeline that kind of want to stay at, like you were saying.
Yeah, like that optimum or optimal like viewing length is about 55 to 90 seconds is pretty optimal. Especially if you're going to have a lot of slow-mo, definitely stay on the shorter side because the pacing aspect can get very like I think you used the term drowsy last time.
Yeah, a little like drug out kind of.
Yeah, it's like, all right, this is kind of slow. Like, we need to pick up the pace. So if you're going to have a longer edit, having a lot of variety in film speed, slow-mo, or just like regular riding speed, and also like camera motion will keep your viewer entertained for longer. All right, but yeah, Dirt, you're headed in the right direction, man. Just clean up some things, and I want to see some more from you. But good job, dude.
I think 998's a cool number. It reminds me of Untamed.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right, we got Rowdy Rudy. 400 hours. All right, let's see.
You got the devil in your eyes. You went and took me by surprise.
Damn.
Say what you wanna say, I won't go back. If you wanna hit the road, then let's go then. Let's just go and see the world and just show them what it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, cause we're golden. They can never break us down, cause we're golden. They're about to see us glow, cause we're golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, cause we're golden. They can never break us down, cause we're golden. They're about to see us glow, cause we're golden. Got the devil in your eyes. You went into
Another one that just kind of ends abruptly. I think this guy's pretty new to the editing side of stuff, so I won't rag on him too much. The bike is sick. The reflections are really well done.
It is sick, actually. It's crazy.
However, it's MX bikes, man. Like, it's really hard to get this close to stuff and make it look good.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really...
Yeah, and it's like the saturation's a little high.
Yeah.
Which, dude, I had my monitor settings all screwed up for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I need to watch my videos back on different screens. Like, I would send it to my phone and stuff and make sure that it looked consistent,
Yeah.
Because when you play the game, the game's so flat naturally that instinct is to just boost it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be a little excessive.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, this is tough. Like, the shot, I know what he was trying to do here, and it's unfortunate that this is what our textures look like. Like, you can get super
Right,
close.
yeah, there's only so much you can do there.
Right. Reshade was pretty solid. It's a little oversaturated, like you were saying, but the camera works sick. Again, I need my soundboard. No bike sounds. Like,
that was a good opportunity right there for just to leave the audio in.
Yeah,
because that's a full speed shot right there. Cool to have it hit kind of with the bike sound.
Well, and all right, so here's one thing that he executed really well, right? So, like, this is a full speed shot, and then he's using, speed ramps to slow this down. But then in the audio, he did a good job of syncing up, like, the full speed, like, going from full speed to slow-mo to back to full speed on the hit of the song. So here, I'll just play it for you again. And then, like, he even uses that sub drop to, like, bring in the next shot. So that was executed absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, speed ramp is kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a little tricky sometimes.
No, this was...
I will say, just for style points, anytime you do the whip with, like, sitting down and you have your sticks pointed, like, one way or the other, or, like, opposite ways, you're going to get that broken elbow.
Mm-hmm.
If you stood a little longer, it doesn't really do it, or if you let go of the... I don't know. It's a little nitpicky at that point. But it's hard to not do. It's one of those things, like, you don't really notice it when you're riding.
Right.
But it's just disguising the game's quirks is, like, half of the battle.
Yep. It's definitely difficult to not get the broken elbow. But overall, like, I think this guy's still pretty new to this editing stuff. This was pretty solid. Dialing in some stuff as far as, like, depth of field, a little bit of reshade here and there, adding some bike sounds. But again, like, all the edits that I've seen this week have been very much like they have all the tools in the toolbox, and the idea is good on paper. It's just the little bit extra to get you to
just tighten up some screws.
Yep. But all right, good job, Rudy. All right. Actually, I believe Veggie is in chat. Good friend of mine.
It ended fast.
Oh yeah, and give us a nice bow, a ribbon.
Fade out or something.
Yeah, a ribbon to wrap it up. Don't just, like, hard cut it. It's
when you upload it to YouTube, there's those little cards at the end that you can do to, like, kind of warn you that the video's about to end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't put those on my video because, like, I think it's corny. Like, I want you to see the piece front to back in its entirety. I don't want YouTube suggesting, fucking, I don't know, weird shit.
Yeah, like all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, like, I don't want to see fucking, I don't know, Kai Cenat jumps up fucking Cybertruck over a yacht for fucking kick money.
Oh, right.
Because that's, like, whatever your YouTube algorithm is.
Yeah, like your algorithm thing, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got Veggie. It's a minute 36. It's down.
You're bringing me out. What the woo? I'm addicted to the pain.
All right.
That was that was really cool, dude. That was nasty.
All right.
So that the shot of the bike in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
that was sick because just as your brain starts to wander, you're like, I kind of been looking at this thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It like starts the logos and like continuation of the camera, like it keeps going up, and then he uses the sky to transition into the shot afterward. This whole project or this whole video was like, you could tell it was thought out and things were where they were for a reason. I thought that was super cool. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, stationary bike shots, like Veggie does a really good job on all of his bikes. Like I really like this Honda kit. We see another, he obviously filmed this in a server because we see another bike
I
over
like
there.
that too. I like it adds a little bit of life to the idea that like somebody else exists in this world.
Right.
You know, that other bike back there. You would realistically see other people at the track.
Yeah, for sure. And I enjoyed the you know, you really don't see a lot of people doing the like heavy metal edits all that much anymore. Like they're like I know Sword is a big guy.
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
that.
say Sword kills it at that.
Yeah, and like he pulls some like deep cuts for his metal music. It's not just, you know,
He's a musical guy, dude. He's pretty knowledgeable about music like in all aspects, but metal stuff, dude.
oh
He's like he's in it.
yeah, and I definitely like the song fits like with
Right.
like the transition works. So there's a lot of this like, oh god, it's like the overlay where it's like black and grungy, and this style of shooting or style of editing where you have like an overlay of this black and white and it's like super grainy and cool. Like it fits with the song, so it makes sense. One thing that I will say is there's a lot of this, it's a lot of close-up shots for my liking, which is fine. Like you can do it, but you really lose a lot when you do like this shot, for instance. So like I really enjoy stuff that is filmed in a realistic manner. So for instance, this shot would most likely be filmed on a drone because you're following the rider. Maybe it wasn't that one. Yeah, this one here. Like, there really isn't a point in time where I believe that a drone would get this close to somebody.
Yeah, it would be incredibly impressive.
Yeah, like if you have a drone operator that can traverse the earth while also staying like extremely close to you, they're a very good drone operator. More likely than not, this shot, if it's going to be this close, is filmed from the ground. So what you get is this weird like rider, like follow cam-esque style of shot, and it's tough because, you know, you want to highlight the kit, you want to highlight the bike, you want to highlight the riding all in one shot. But I would stress to anybody that's trying to edit stuff, stay away from that aspect of it. Like if you're going to follow the rider up a face of a jump, I would recommend that you go from a stationary camera, or if you're going to do a drone shot, it's more than likely that that drone shot is going to be up way higher than the subject, and you can zoom in, but you're still going to have that elevation above the subject itself. I just don't think that you would ever see something like this in a real filming scenario.
Realistically, I guess, yeah, you probably wouldn't. And this is one of those scenarios where the song is, I guess, not chaotic, but I can't think of a better word than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you want your filming to be smooth and you want it to be digestible
Mm-hmm.
and you know, easy to receive,
Mm-hmm.
while also maintaining that chaos and matching this rhythm of the song and the punch and stuff. And sometimes the only way to do that is to get a little unrealistic with that camera, and that's kind of the tricky, which side do you want to be on at that point? Because I think it was exactly his idea to shoot it like that, and he executed it the way I think he intended to. Like everything about it looks intentional.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, if we were going for like absolute realism, then yeah, dude, that drone pilot would be James Stewart of drones.
right. Like it's fine. Like, I'm not saying like everybody has their own style. But I do want to clarify, like, this was submitted to be reviewed, so we're taking a little bit of time to be overly critical on this type of stuff. Also,
63 is also my number if I ever ran a 2-digit, so it's maybe I'm biased.
Well, right, and I'm I like I said, like I've known Veggie for a while now. He's a super cool dude. He's a Australian teenager that bullies me on the internet on a daily basis, but I do get a kick out of him. He's one of my favorite people inside the bikes community.
That was a sick video, dude.
But yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, you did a really good job. I like the song choice. Aside from that, like, maybe get your reshade dialed in with a little bit of depth of field, and then maybe some color grading, just to kind of help. Because like right here, for instance, with like the dirt and the background, like, it's really hard to kind of see that subject a little bit, but just some color grading will help make that pop and stand out a little bit more, or some depth of field settings, so the trees and stuff in the background blurs out. But overall, man, super good job. Keep it up. All right, up next we got Cloud. He actually submitted his stuff as well, so we'll give him a little bit of extra criticism.
The bigger the bag, the better the bitches. I know they click when we put on the switches. I want the bush, we smoking on switches. Switch, you be rolling out, also we kissing. Fucking a hoe to get her to do dishes. I don't be smiling, I don't do pictures. Don't do hers, I don't do kisses. Fuck no hoe, I don't want no kids. Like a telescope, we looking at the stars. She's so damn fine and I'm so high, who you are. She's so damn bad, I done bought all the more. If it's double the money, it's double the size. Stash of them bitches that fuck for the night. Double the catches, they call us a night. Summons you fucking no matter the size. Giving up keys, you giving up, please. So my drink, but I got your bitch all on her knees.
They know I'm a big boss, got a big boss in this bitch. They know I'm a big talker, have my big body in they shit. No, it's how me, bitch. R.I.P. Bitch, they die. Turn the light on my side. These how the lights off for you inside. Be taking these joints for fun with bitch. We putting ass on the tongue. Bitch, we taking around. Bitch, I'm bringing my motherfucking gun. If the lights off, I'm outside. If the lights off, I'm outside. How the lights off, I'm outside.
Nice.
Hell yeah. No, Cloud does a really good job. Like, his quality is wicked up there.
The writing was sick too.
Yeah,
same deal. Like, it's not always the biggest lips, but it's the more styly ones that I'd gravitate toward.
Yeah, and I think Cloud does he does a lot of rider features in his edits. Doesn't really do a whole lot of what I would say is more like more like an art piece. It's more just like, hey, here's two riders that are shredding. So keeping that in mind, like, this is really well put together. He does a great job of highlighting the riders. Depth of field settings are perfect. His reshade is really good. In my opinion, and this is just me being super hypercritical, it's a little dark. Like, a lot of these shots, and like this,
a little bit.
This is on Redbud, Washu, no, Redbud, yeah. Like, there's a lot of shadows, so like choosing like a color grading or an HDR setting to really help bring out some of those darker shots would be something that, you know, you'd like to see from somebody of this capacity in the edit space. But overall, like, aside from the overused song, like it's just a really popular song, which is fine. Like I'm not.
Yeah, it- yeah. The trendy songs end up you hear it a lot, and then it a little bit it kind of feels repetitive, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously it's a catchy song, so it's you want to use it. One thing too, a lot of the racers and stuff they run their rear shock super super soft,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know about the no rider mod thing
Mm-hmm.
now. Uh,
Oh,
when you do that, you should make or not should, but like you could make a setup specifically just for this shot
yeah,
where
yeah.
everything is all the way stiff,
Just crank
so
that
it
up.
doesn't look like it's like it's so squatted.
Yeah.
But it looks like that scissor lift is crushing it.
Yeah, yeah. No, like, and he's taking that extra step from the no rider portion, and
Right, which is cool. I like it. Leaning the bike on something. It's sick,
this
and it's a
is
cool way to show the bike off in an interesting way.
yeah, it's definitely that extra step to like showcase the bike in a stationary position without it being on the stand because it's just a little bit. It's that little extra step to be like, hey,
And
this.
another like, sorry, dude, I just keep getting thoughts, but the when you have the white bike and then it's super cool. You gotta keep it clean
Mm,
because sometimes it gets really dirty and then it goes back to being super clean,
mm-hmm.
and it's a little the continuation isn't there.
Yeah. Oh, the continuity. Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago where it was there was an edit that had like clean bike, dirty bike, clean bike. And I stand by the fact that like your bike is going to be dirty, but if it got dirtier throughout the edit, then I would be okay. Uh,
Right, yeah.
like because then it's a continuity. The continuity's still there because dirt bikes do get dirty. However, having it go clean, dirty, clean.
And it
Yeah,
wouldn't really be a big deal. It's just the dirt mask on the game itself is kind of not great.
yeah,
And so if you can hide it, it's probably better to.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, but overall, yeah, Cloud does a really good job. It, like his quality is sick. Um, I like his transition work.
Transitions and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, like it's all super
Kept the
clean.
field.
Yeah, it's all dialed in. He's got everything dialed. I have, yeah, not a whole lot of notes on this one. And he had bike sounds too, which is sick.
Right.
Are
And they were mixed well.
yes, that's a huge thing. And I want to touch on this because Veggie did it in the last one. There and Pax does an insanely good job of audio editing in edits as well. Like there's another piece that a lot of people miss is like, oh, they just throw a song over some riding clips and that's fine. Like be that guy, whatever. But when you start to edit like the audio, it adds this like extra layer of depth and immersiveness to your edit, and it's super cool. And God, I want to recommend like if you are an editor, go watch the new Dirt Shark video with Levi Kitchen at Washougal on the 2-stroke, and just see how they do their audio manipulation. It's insane.
Yeah, it's wild actually.
Like if you guys haven't seen that video, it's so well put together, and like even like, from the film work to the color grading to the actual audio manipulation, like everything is so good. And you just take inspiration from that and take their ideas and find a way to incorporate that into your own work, and I guarantee you it will get better. But yeah, Cloud, super good. So I know you wanted to keep this under an hour and a half. However, whenever we have a guest on, instead of us going through and reviewing, we review everybody's work every week, right? I like to have our guests come on and have a no holds bar, no feelings hurt criticism of my own work because I should probably check myself, right? So I will end the show tonight I just dropped one earlier today. Don't have a whole lot of time into it, but like I said, no hurt feelings. Whatever your thoughts are, you can be as harsh as you want, man. You've been, pretty gracious up until this point, and honestly, like, I'm sure everybody.
Dude, I'm gonna let it out now.
Yeah, hell yeah, like, let's do it.
I'm just joking.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so this is a longer one, so it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But anyways.
Oh yeah. All right.
Bonus points if you can guess the artist.
Look it back. I'm just joking. That's a sick shot. Yeah, you're sicko, dude. That was sick. Dude, was there a bird in the beginning? Did you put a bird in there? Or am
No,
I tripping?
no, that's that would be stealing from C. I would never, because that's his steez.
Dude, because you had like, I don't know what it was. It looked sick. It like had to have been an effect or something. It just barely caught my eye.
You talking about this?
You know what's good is like, oh, it was you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was you back there. I thought it was a bird flying in the sky.
Yep, that's
Oh,
me.
damn. Okay. Okay. Initially, I was looking at the grass because usually when you do this like through the weeds or through a plant shot, they don't look very good. They're like kind of janky and the grass textures are like sharp and pixely. But I was like, damn, that looks pretty sick. I was looking at the grass, dude. And then my peripheral, I thought that was a bird flying. But now that I see that like, that's dope. I like that. And then, I mean, fuck, dude. I don't know. That was really sick. There was one shot in the rollers. You were out of frame for maybe a tinge too long.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
I was like, we were like chasing you, you know?
Yeah, so I was trying to achieve that kind of like side by side, like somebody who had like a, like you're filming from somebody ripping down
Like
like
a gator.
Yeah, and it's so tough to get that at full speed and also keep you in frame. But yes, like
For
this
sure.
this portion where I'm gone. So yeah, no, like that was definitely something that I noticed as well.
And then like when you do come back into frame after that little gap there, it's only for a second.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe cut it a little shorter. I don't know. But I'm nitpicking, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's this is the perfect opportunity to nitpick, right? Because like, I agree. Like it was way
You're
too
definitely
long.
honing in on a style though. Like you have like a look. Um, couldn't put my finger on it, but that's what's sick about like everybody being able to have individual styles and stuff. That's like the coolest thing. But I could tell you're like you're like finding a groove or something because I mean it was good, dude. It was everything was meshed together well. Clips like felt good going into one another. Ugh, pause. But uh it was just it's like seamless. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
Hell yeah.
the rhythm was good.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just spending a lot of time. So like before I started editing MX Bike stuff, like I've been a music producer for close to a decade now.
Oh, okay.
So like I have a better ear than I do an eye, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
One thing that I did notice, and I noticed it now after, because okay, so I really want to touch on this aspect because I feel like as an editor, it's really easy to get kind of sucked into a project, and you're in a groove and you're rolling, and then you get towards the ending portion of it, and it's like, oh, I just want to be done. I want to click
Yeah.
export. I want to render this, and I
You're
want to
like
put
tired of hearing the song. You're tired of.
yeah.
I get you.
You can definitely get some fatigue in it. So it's better to, and I did not do this. Like I got fatigued trying to like if you go into like make an edit, and a lot of like majority of my edits I am highlighting myself, or I'm filming a commercial for my virtual brand or whatever, or I'm just trying to have fun. Like it's really difficult to get clean laps, right? So you spend, you could spend an hour just
Right.
just riding, and then it's like, okay, it could be up to 2 hours of riding or more, and just to get that perfect lap, right? And now it's like, all right, now it's time to go film, and then you're filming for an hour to 2 hours, and then it's like, all right, now it's time to edit. Well, by the time, like, if all of those things were to
Right.
take you at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, you're already on 3-4 hours before you even get into your editing software. So it's a really good opportunity. I know you're excited and you want to get your idea down on paper. It's a really good opportunity to take a step back, come back to it the next day, start piecing your stuff together, and then because there's stuff like this, right? So we fade into the sky. This would have been a great opportunity for a fade to white or a lens flare or something, and it was just missed because I'd hit that fatigue point.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But like also too, sometimes you want it to keep going. Like you want your momentum to keep going. You don't want to stop.
Yeah. No, and I agree. Like it's the creativity aspect of it is definitely like you've got the juices flowing, right? You got that mojo, and you want to just keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. And the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like, oh my god.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent like hours trying to do something dumb, like a single whip or a single just to make it look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. Sometimes it's a full on battle.
Yeah. It's really tough. Well, man.
In the beginning of your video, sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
you went over like the table and you did a little turn up whip, but you did a look back with it. I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah. So and that's another thing.
Because that's just like the game does have animations. You might as well try and use them.
Like it's just a small little look back.
Yep, it's just there for somebody. It's just a little treat for somebody that caught it.
Yep. And there's ways that you can, like even the tear off animation over. I think this is the finish line. No, it's not actually. But like this big anthill jump, like you get that kind of like weird oppo,
Yeah.
but like I don't know if that like made sense. Just like the way that I shot it. Like
With weird whips like that, dude, if you let go of the left stick for just a moment, the bars straighten out,
mm-hmm.
and it's like it resets your body on the bike.
Yeah.
and then you don't get like the hand clipping through the front plate or the crossbar pad and stuff.
Hmm.
But it's just a matter of like going against the grain and letting go of that steer stick so your bike straightens out for a moment.
Right.
But then it totally changes the characteristic for the rest of the animation per
Yeah.
se.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. So like we've talked about this and how like you can mask that and it's just changing your style of riding.
Hmm.
But it's really difficult to do that when you're trying to, have a consecutive lap that's good enough to be on a replay. And you get,
Right.
let's say you get to like the last 3 jumps or 2 jumps, and you're like, oh, I need to throw a tosser off of this one. And you sit halfway through it, and it's like, am I really?
Yeah, or you accidentally pull a tear off because you hit your stick too hard, or like,
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit.
yeah,
So-
you accidentally wave your hand or something crazy. Like,
yeah.
I get it, dude.
It, it's definitely tough, but there's definitely like there's ways to mask this stuff inside the game, and we're all still trying to get better and better every single project that we work on. But yeah, no, like there's holes to be poked in my work, and that's the reason why I do this show every week, right? It's to encourage people to get better, but in a constructive way, not just sit here for an hour and a half every week and be like,
Right.
this sucked, you're bad.
Because sometimes, dude, you like you get plateaued or you kind of get staled out. And you just need maybe there's something you're not noticing,
Mm-hmm.
or there's something that you're just like looking at and you just don't know, and then somebody gives you just a tiny little tip or something, and it kind of gets the ball rolling for you again, and then you get the progression.
Hell yeah. Well, man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, man.
Yeah, dude, that was a blast.
I really do appreciate you coming on this week. It was so much fun. Glad that we were able to make this work in short notice. Thank you to all the people that were hanging out in chat tonight. We have we got King Bike Star. Hey, what's up, man? We Veggie Swerd. Hey, one of my boys, Steez. Larson's in here. We got Valor. I don't know who runs the Valor YouTube channel. Yeah, it is super cool to see all these guys just hanging out. Pelster's in here. Yeah, awesome. I really appreciate you guys hanging out.
We got all the boys.
Yeah, we got the whole Valor crew in here, all the no-namers. But yeah, man, I really do appreciate you. If you guys
Yeah, thank you, dude.
Yeah, if you guys
Thank you for doing this every week too. I know that you got to take time out of your own, life to do this, but it is cool, dude. Like what you got going on.
Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words, man. If you haven't followed Panicrev on YouTube, make sure you do. He's got one of the sickest styles I've seen as far as film work, editing. Like, he's super good at what he does. And it's a unique style that I don't think a lot of people could really pull it off. But you seem to be able to do it, man. So
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
anything you want to plug before we send it off for tonight?
I don't know. If you want to follow my Instagram or something, it's just psn.panicrev because initially I was on PlayStation, so it's psn.panicrev. And usually I just kind of update where I'm at or what I'm doing through that. So other than that, no, man, like I said, thank you for having me, and this was fun. Everybody killed it. I was impressed by like everybody's.
Yeah, this was a really solid night. Normally we have like a couple that are brand new to the game and just kind of starting out, but it seemed like, I don't know, maybe people have been watching each week and trying to elevate their craft a little bit.
Yeah, dude, it's so much fun. Like we all have somewhat of a passion for dirt bikes, and that passion's turned into a passion for this game, and it's cool to be able to like document that through little edits and things like that. It's fun for the community for sure to watch it expand and get better.
Hell yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Weekly Review Show. I'm your host, Dylan, aka So-Called Designs. In studio with me, or virtual studio, I should say, is Panicrev. Thank you so much for coming on. If you guys don't know what this show is and are just tuning in, we host a weekly visual podcast where we review your MX Bikes edits and give back our feedback. whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Well, my co-host Junk isn't on today because he's dealing with some real life stuff. But we're just some guys on the internet, and we're just trying to make everybody a little bit better by providing some feedback. So take it with a grain of salt. If you're just trying to have fun, keep having fun, man. But if you are trying to get better, tune in, post your stuff in my Discord. The link should be in the description, so you can have your stuff submitted. One caveat to that is we only review edits that were made in the last 7 days. So from Tuesday to Tuesday, you have that time frame to create something and submit it. Anything outside of that window will not be reviewed. We want to see stuff that's fresh, not something that was made 3 months ago. But yeah, thank you so much, man. Thank you, everybody that came out and watched the show tonight. I really do appreciate it. And we will see you all next week.
Sit.
I could cut it with a knife, rearrange it how I like, push you right by my side. Settle down, take some time to wrap my head around it. Baby girl, you burn the whole place down. Louisiana, come on now, I need you to stick around. Whenever you go down, backseat, baddest bitch I done seen. Face out of a magazine. Baby girl, what is happening? What is happening to me? Obsessed, maybe. Keep you wrapped around my thumb. Baby, you are my alibi. The distance is a killer in the night. Wish I could cut it with a knife. Rearrange it how I like. Push you right by. Obsessed, maybe. Keep you wrapped around my thumb. Baby, you are my alibi. The distance is a killer in the night. Wish I could cut it.